What if I told you that there's one simple idea, a single model that explains pretty much everything around you? We're talking solids, liquids, gases, the whole shebang. Well, there is, and today we're going to dive right in. But let's start with something we've all experienced. Someone sprays perfume, and a few moments later, you can smell it, even if you're way across the room. How does that happen? How does that smell get from over there all the way to your nose? It kind of seems like magic, right? Well, it's not magic. It's science. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly how it works. So to solve this little mystery, our first stop is a pretty big question. What is everything made of? I mean, really, down at the most basic level. The chair you're sitting on, that glass of water, even the air you're breathing right now. What's it all made of? And the answer is something called the simple particle model. It's a really beautiful idea, actually. It says that everything, and I mean everything, is just made up of these zillions of tiny individual particles. Think of them as the universe's own microscopic Legos. Okay, so everything is made of particles. Got it? But, that's only part one of the story. The really cool part, the second clue we need, is what these little guys are up to all the time. And here's the absolute game changer. There are two rules you really need to know. Rule 1, these particles are always moving. They never ever stop. It's like they're in a constant dance. And rule 2, there are always spaces between them. Always. These two simple rules, honestly, they explain so much, as you're about to see. Okay, so particles are always moving, and there's spaces between them. So what, you might be asking? Well, this is where it gets really cool. Those two simple ideas are all you need to understand the three states of matter we deal with every single day: solids, liquids, and gases. Let's start with solids. Think about a block of ice, or your phone. Inside, the particles are packed together super tight in this really organized fixed pattern. They're basically shoulder to shoulder. They don't have enough energy to go anywhere, so they just kind of vibrate in place. That's why a solid holds its shape, right? The particles are all locked in. But what about liquids? Well, in a liquid, say water, the particles have a bit more energy. They're still really close, but they're not locked down anymore. They can break free from that rigid structure and just slide and tumble all over each other. And that's why liquids flow, It's why they take the shape of whatever you pour them into. And then there are gases. Now, gas particles have a ton of energy. They've completely broken free, they're super far apart from each other, and they're just zipping around like crazy in every direction, bouncing off everything. This is why a gas doesn't have a shape or a volume of its own. It just expands and fills up whatever space it's in, no matter how big. So this just pulls it all together perfectly. Look at the difference. For solids, the particles are tightly packed and just vibrate. For liquids, they're still close, but they can slide around. And for gases, they're way far apart and moving totally freely. See? It all just comes down to how much space is between the particles and how much they're moving. All right, we've got all the clues now. Particles exist. They're always moving, and their movement defines solids, liquids, and gases. So let's go back to where we started, that perfume. Let's solve this thing. Here's what happens step by step. First, that liquid perfume gets sprayed. Some of those liquid particles instantly get enough energy to escape into the air and turn into a gas. That's evaporation. Now, what do we know about gas particles? They're full of energy, they're far apart, and they move randomly in all directions. So these tiny, invisible perfume particles start zipping around, spreading out from the bottle and filling the whole room. Sooner or later, some of those random moving particles bump right into your nose. And just like that, mystery solved. All right, let's do a quick wrap-up. What are the big ideas you should really remember from all this? It really boils down to three key things. Number 1, all matter, everything, is made of tiny particles. Number 2, those particles are always in motion. They never stop. And number 3, the amount of space between them and the way they move is what makes something a solid, a liquid, or a gas. It's so simple, but it explains so much about our world. So that leaves us with one last question to chew on. We've said over and over that particles are always moving. But could they ever stop? Is there some temperature somewhere in the universe that's so incredibly cold that all that motion would just cease? What do you think would happen then? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.